Hello and welcome to the Live by Heart Today show 73. This is a show designed to help you navigate change, uncertainty, and the world we found ourselves in. We'll talk a little bit about science, a little bit about how our body works, a little bit about intuition, and we talk a lot about transformation.
Streaming from Retro Earth Studio and brought to you by
Learn to play jazz piano like a pro, by a pro, with Jazz Piano Pro Essentials at jazzpianopro.com.
And wearehistorically.com. Conscious Human Apparel. It's time for the next episode of Live by Heart
Today.
Hello, I'm Dawn Spiegelberg, medical intuitive and heart coherence coach. This show is in our growth series, and today's theme is Life Leaves Clues. And with me for today's Heart to Heart is my co-host, Wendy R. Wolf, professional transformation facilitator. Welcome, Wendy.
Hey, Dawn. Hooray! We're in our growth series, and Life Leaves Clues. And we just talked about this for a long time, and it's such an exciting topic. I'm really excited to bring this to everyone and start this conversation more deeply. I hope that everybody thinks about getting back to us and puts in their 2 cents so we can continue the conversation after we're done.
So why are we talking about Life Leaves Clues?
Well, for me, it's, we've talked about this before. It's all about the fruit. We can't always tell what is going on, particular training or a way of being, or how we're trying something new, or applying some kind of soul science or some kind of experiment in our life. We aren't always sure. So, are we starting to see buds come? Are we starting to see blooms come? Are we starting to see fruit come? Is the fruit good, delicious? These are the things I think it's so important. It's a form of discernment that you don't have to be psychic for. Just how's the fruit?
And we use our skills of observation. So this is the time of year of harvest. And so did the work that you performed in the spring. So I plant seeds and my plants grow. And now is the time where you notice, did those blossoms get properly not germinated, pollinated is the word.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find this interesting. There are birds, songbirds that fly around my garden and they snip off the blooms.
What?
Yeah. I had a sunflower grow for the first time this year. It was a volunteer. I didn't plant it purposefully, but it grew and I had 4 blooms on it and they snapped off 2. So now there are only 2 blooms on it.
Wow. Do they eat them?
I don't know what they do with them. I just find them littered on the ground. They also snap off the blooms of my squash plants. And I was thinking something else was doing it, and I realized it was the birds.
That is so interesting. It reminds me of, tomato plants. I know that it's actually very useful to clip off a bunch of them so that the ones that are left actually have enough resources to make nice tomatoes. I wonder if there's some kind of natural system there that's happening.
I love that you say that, because if, for example, my sunflower plant has multiple blooms, then the oldest flower is less likely to have robust seeds grow. So you may be right on that.
Could be. There's all kinds of systems in the world that we don't even understand.
It's
close
true.
to all of them. So
true.
That's really interesting noticing. Yeah.
So the clues that we do have the ability to look at are what we're focusing on today. And when it comes to living by heart, there are specific clues. I have one in particular I'd like to share.
Yes,
and it's actually an example of not living by heart and finding the cause for why I was not able to live by heart at 9:15 in the evening
Haha.
for for a
I
few
know
years.
this one. Yes.
Yeah, you know this one. So here I'll set up the situation. During the school year, my children have to get up and we drive them to school. And so we establish a bedtime that's for their health and well-being. And somehow my motherliness, my body would know when 9:15 rolled around. So the guideline was they needed to have their pajamas on and their teeth brushed and things put away at 9:15 and then lights out at 9:30. So if they wanted to do some last minute reading or relaxation, they had time to do that.
Yeah.
So I'd begin reminding them at 8:45. I'd remind them at 9:00. I'd remind them at 9:10. And inevitably 9:15 would roll around and their teeth wouldn't be brushed and they wouldn't have their pajamas on. You know, things happen. And at 9:15, without fail, I would lose my cool. And I'd say, it's time for bed right now. What are you doing? What have you been doing? I've been reminding you, right? Very stern.
Yes.
Because I knew what the morning would be like. And it was difficult. And aside, if they were late to school and, got a mark on their report card that said, you were tardy this many times, I was actually allowing that to reflect on the kind of parent I was, because I'm the one responsible for getting them to school.
Yes.
So I was losing my cool about the possibility of them being tardy and then it reflecting on my parenting. That's a whole nother story.
Right.
But my husband was giving me feedback saying, every night you get frustrated and you lose your temper. And I was just like, well, I'm patient. And they don't go to bed. They don't get ready for bed. Yes. So I kept pointing at them. And I just kept saying to myself, well, if they would do what I asked them, if they would get ready for bed, like we all agreed, like they're supposed to, then I wouldn't be upset. Then I wouldn't lose my cool. And I made some, I made some dietary changes, interestingly enough. And those dietary changes included removing chocolate from my diet. And I stopped losing my cool over my kids not going to bed.
I just love this example.
Yeah, it wasn't my kids causing my irritation.
Right? Because now they still are having similar behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, because on the weekends it's a free-for-all. Oh, let's stay up until midnight or 1. And if I'm in bed by 10:30 or 11 and they're still up and I say, please go to bed, and they don't, I go to bed. And if they stay up until super late, then their next day is a wreck. Yeah. They're too tired. They, don't want to get up.
Right.
So they feel the consequence of not going to bed, which is giving them tools. It's giving them the feedback about why parents ask them to go to bed at a decent hour. And the beautiful thing is I changed me.
Yes.
They didn't change. They're kids.
Yes. Yeah. So there's still consequences, but the consequences used to be a screaming mother. Yeah. And now the consequences are, if I don't do it, then I'm tired the next day.
Yes.
And
yeah. It used to be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. It used to be a short-tempered, disgruntled mother. And who wants that? Nobody. And I didn't want to be that way.
Right.
Because during the day, I felt like a different person. And so this is important. I would have chocolate after dinner. I would just have a couple bites of chocolate. That was my after dinner treat. And then it was inevitably 2 hours later, boom, I was losing my cool, which I didn't recognize the cause and effect of that because I wouldn't lose my cool during the day. I wasn't eating chocolate during the day.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to part of what you and I do is we look for ourselves and in general and with others, we help people look behind, look under, look deeper. what's really going on here? What
Mhm.
are the causes of
Mhm.
what's happening? What's the fruit of what's happening? Can we
Mhm.
break it down? And you did that with yourself. And it could be you're the only one who has this. Maybe you're not. But you were having a reaction that you didn't like the fruit of. You didn't like the
Yes.
results. And then you made changes. You tried things. You made changes. And even though it's not the easiest thing not to eat chocolate, I assume, you shifted.
Yeah.
And then you got different results. And then your children are getting different results.
Mhm. Yes, exactly. And I want to speak to the change just for a minute, because I've never heard of anyone saying that chocolate has that negative consequence. Right. And I listened to what people have to say. And I had been making changes to my diet for a long time. So chocolate was one of 4 kinds of things I was consuming. Right. I only had 4 things. So when I had stopped eating, onions, and stopped eating potatoes, and stopped eating all those other things, I thought for sure I could keep eating chocolate
Yes.
because it was all the other things that were setting up this inflammation.
Yes.
And it helped to stop eating those things, but it didn't help my evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be willing to look at something else. And this is what I tell people in my practice. If you have a shoulder pain, the shoulder is, the victim. The shoulder is the part that's hurting, but it's
Yes.
something else that's causing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, for example, a woman in New York City screaming, my purse, my purse. She's not the problem. She's complaining. We can hear her.
Yes.
But she's not the problem. It's the guy sneaking through the crowd trying not to be seen, and he's quiet and he's stealth.
I like
That's
that.
the problem. And it's more difficult to find the cause of the problem. So it was
Yes.
difficult for me to find the cause of my 9:15 disgruntled behavior.
Yes. Yes.
Because
And
it was the chocolate.
Easy to blame the children. It's so easy to be like, they did it, they're wrong, this is bad. I have to act like a jerk.
Yeah. Because they're not listening, they're not obedient, they're not doing what they're told. They're not.
Yes.
And it's all me pointing.
It's all you pointing. And the other 3 fingers back to you.
Yes.
Yes.
And 3 fingers pointing at me.
Yes. And I just want to side on this, like it trains your children to not be self-responsible.
And to not listen, because who wants to listen to that?
And to not listen. And then, that if that doesn't stop, they'll just end up going off to college and not having the self-regulation for themselves. That muscle won't be built because mom just yells when I don't do it wrong, don't do it right.
Yeah.
And then off to college, and things don't go well for them. Whereas now, like, you just be like, okay, have the results. You decide.
Yes. It really, really is different now, because I can look my children in the eye and I can say, are you aware of what time it is? I'd really like you to go to bed. And it is truly living by heart instead of, living by scream or living by disgruntled, inflammatory responses. And it makes a big difference, because now there's more respect. They respect me, and I respect the choice that they're making to do it or not.
Because we all do it. Sometimes we choose to stay up later. We're reading something, or we're helping, or we're building, or we're doing homework, whatever we're doing.
Yes.
Getting ready for the next day. And we choose, and we have the results, and we learn. And it's it's so much better for everyone. Like, there's 2 sets of results we're looking at here, yours and theirs.
Yes.
Really love this example.
This is an example because, I didn't want to be that way, but I was in it and I was being that way. And then I went through the whole justification. Well, I'm not this way earlier in the day. Why am I this way now? Because they won't go to bed. That's why. Right? Like, me being in the problem was perpetuating the problem. Why are you so upset about this? Because they haven't gone to bed yet.
Right.
It looks like that's the answer.
Yes.
But that's not really the answer.
Yes. Yes.
So you
And
say, look deeper.
And so you're the theory about chocolate for you, who knows about other people,
Yeah.
for you, it sets up more inflammation, which
Yes.
adds distress in your
Mhm.
system,
Mhm.
takes away the cushion
Yes.
of
Patience, kindness. Yeah.
Mhm. Just like if we're in extreme pain or whatever, that cushion, it's hard to,
Mhm.
and therefore just more easily disturbed,
Yes.
reactive.
Yes.
Mhm.
And at a particular time, I was patient, I was patient, I was patient. And then at 9:15, boom, I was not
Mhm.
any longer.
Mhm.
What is that
Yeah.
about? It's really interesting.
Right. Well,
Because,
that was the
yeah,
agreement.
the agreement was that if they're tardy, I look like a bad parent. And so,
That's
here's
another
the
thing
thing.
behind under there,
Yeah,
right? Your
yeah.
story.
Yeah, my story of what other people would think of me as a parent was driving my behavior of being that not great parent.
Right.
I mean, it seems really strange, but the very thing that you try to avoid, right, the very thing that you're afraid of, ends up becoming the truth.
Yes. It's just, I love this. I love this. Thanks for being so vulnerable to talk about this, because it is a gorgeous little archetype of the kinds of things we get caught into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
And yeah,
chocolate in and of itself is not bad. So the things that is the cause, that might be the causes of, what you may not want to do or be or have,
yeah.
may not in and of itself be, a negative or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the combination that
Yep.
creates the results.
Yes. Yes. So one distinction I want to make here is the results, the fruit
Mm-hmm.
that we like, that we don't like, that's sweet, that's tart,
The pissy.
is there's within us, in our soul, within us, deep within us, and then also into the world.
Yes.
And so at first it started in you. It started from something physical, but still it was setting up a resonance in your space that was dissonant, unhappy, whatever.
Yes. Yes.
And so that was in your own soul, and then just waiting for the external event, excuse,
Mm-hmm.
to explicate into the physical.
Yeah.
And so, like, really just being like, okay, so if everything's a mirror, look
Yes.
deeper. And this really helped change your experience, your family's experience, like, this is huge for your children's well-being as they
Mm-hmm.
grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Their relationship with going to bed, their relationship
Mm-hmm.
to getting up, like it's big.
And there's another piece too, and that's the me feeling like an imposter. Because here I am and hearing people say, oh, you're such a good parent. But I know at 9:15, I don't feel like a good parent.
Yes.
I'm living by heart and teaching people how to come from a genuine place of caring and kindness and connection. And yet at 9:15 at night, I'm not connected and I can't figure out why. And no amount of breathing and thising and, the practicing that I do was helping that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
then there's the doubt. Does this really work? Why is this happening? And
Right.
a coach I really respect, he talks about core wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give a quick example. I just turned 2, and my mother gave birth to my little brother. And in my whole life as an adult, I noticed a pattern I have of including others. I would see someone, in a group and not being involved, and I would work to get them involved. When I started massage school, there was a student driving over from Wenatchee and then driving home after practice, right? Or after class. It was crazy. And so I put together this little sign-up sheet that said, Tony needs a place to stay so he doesn't have to drive home after class. What nights can you take him?
Oh, sweet.
Right. But there was just this pattern of me including people and looking at the outlier. And it was because I felt that my younger brother was born too soon for me. I still needed my mother's time and attention. But as a child, I recognized as an infant, he needed her more.
Yeah.
So this core wound of mine, known as a level of abandonment,
Yes.
was dictating these behaviors
Yes.
that other people were seeing in me as good or generous or compassionate, but it came from a core wound.
Right. And no matter how good it looks, if it's not the way for you in that moment, it's not healthy. If I'm
That's right.
compelled to do it from my own wounding, abandonment or whatever, then that's not a healthy place to be acting from.
Right. And the outcomes can sometimes even still be good. Like it turned out that someone had a room he could stay in, and it forged a really strong relationship there.
Right.
So, the outcome was relatively good, but from my perspective, in a situation like that, now I'm looking for the next person that's not included. I'm looking for, the next group that I can contribute to. And that's not a strong, heartfelt expression, right? That's an expression from lack, not an expression from abundance.
Right.
So here's the skill that I developed. I developed a skill of looking at groups and recognizing who may need a little more support. And now I have the ability to choose.
Yes.
Does that person even want support? They might not want support.
Right.
So it would be wrong for me to set up this whole support system for someone who doesn't want it.
Yes. So great. It's the healing compulsion. It's the big temptation of healers to heal and help, no matter what.
Yes.
It's the grandmother have another piece of pie, even though I'm so full.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. That's gorgeous. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you.
Let's take a short break.
Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Hello, my name is Wendy from Graceful Soul Academy, and we have an ongoing series of Thursday night workshops. This month, we're focusing on soul certainty. It's not intellectual certainty. It's not theoretical certainty. It's deep knowing, deep seeing in your own soul. We can help you taste the truth of your own soul. We can help you savor your unique perspective. We can help you own your reality, how it occurs for you, both within you and in your world. This practice of soul certainty, it's a very powerful tool and blessing. I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dawn Spiegelberg, a posture specialist and coherence coach. We hold responsibilities on our shoulders, and when our responsibilities become too great, we begin to bend over with the load. And that load actually begins to curve our back. And in this portion of our back is our sense of commitment. So maintain alignment with who you are and the responsibilities that you actually should embrace. Contact me today to align your body, align your mind, and align your beliefs.
Hi, I'm Darius Wilrich. I instruct an online video course that teaches anyone how to play jazz piano like a pro with my proven step-by-step system that makes it simple to learn. Jazz Piano Pro Essentials. Enroll today at jazzpianopro.com and download my free quick start guide.
Welcome back to the Live by Heart show number 73. I'm actually really excited to talk about this. Life leaves clues, and some of the clues that life leaves are really obvious, like roses budding are a sign that the rose will bloom.
Mhm.
And sometimes the clues aren't so obvious, like me eating chocolate and being a bear at 9:15 at night.
Mhm.
But it still was a clue, and we can follow the clues to the source. We can follow the clues and discover what the cause is to the effect that we're experiencing. And for those who may need help with that cause and effect, we're available. We love assisting people on their journey to live by heart, whether they're having pain in their body or pain in their soul.
Mhm.
It is our pleasure and our purpose to support and to be supportive.
Mhm. Yes. I'm just enjoying in the deliciousness of like playing, dancing with people to find what works, to find what helps, to find what works in our souls and in our world.
Mhm.
And for me, and I believe for you, like we're both very science minded. And I really love to think about life as an experiment, constantly doing experiments. I mean, there's a lot of talk about it in small business and such these days, being much more conscious about, like a scientist would, what we're doing and what the effects are. But our whether we're conscious of it or not, I believe that our lives are experiments. We're making certain assumptions about what will work, what will have us be happy or be great contributors or raise wonderful children or whatever it is that we value. We have assumptions about what that would be. Can we be watching of what is actually happening and be willing to make shifts like you did around chocolate, which is not an easy shift.
No. You know, we all sort of know that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it happens in our lives.
Yeah.
We do the same thing because we don't know any better. And we keep getting the same result and we keep pointing to the result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And are we courageous enough, like you talked about, to be like, I'm done with these results. Can I go deeper? Can I look at the bigger picture? Can I look at what the assumptions are? Can I deconstruct it and see where things go awry and heal that? And when I'm tuning into that, I just see there's just so much pain. There's pain in results a lot of times that we don't enjoy, but also there's pain of what gets us to those results.
Yes.
And that's the pain that's hidden by all the.
Yeah, you're making a really good point. The pain that's hidden because no one knew that I had digestive inflammation, really, right? Like it's not an obvious thing. And it's been years and years of trying to heal it, of, taking this herb, taking that supplement, and getting feedback. Right. One time I mentioned that I was going to stop eating garlic, and someone dear to my heart said, "Garlic, you can't stop eating garlic. Garlic has important properties that you must continue eating. It's good for your health." And while that may have been true, it wasn't benefiting me.
Right.
That, and with lots of other things too. So we're all different. We all have a different path, and trying to find the causes of things that are awry when you can't really see clearly what a primary or an initiating cause may be. It takes something. It takes something to get there. And I have to say, you, my friend, are brilliant at helping people get to the cause. You mentioned underlying pain, and pain is something that we don't want. So we often don't look at it. We don't understand it. It's hard to manage it. And you
Mhm.
do such an amazing and beautiful job of holding the space for us to be supported while making it through, while going through the healing journey, which isn't always comfortable.
No, usually not.
Mhm.
But we can still have a good time doing it. That's
Yeah.
the funny part. Like if we allow a little more equanimity and a little more amusement, we can start to say hello to our deep, very, very uncomfortable stuff and start to tease it out. And like little woodland creatures, make little fun with it, little play with it.
Mhm.
Um, so thank you. You honor me with that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I want to say that it's so fascinating to watch you, and I see, especially in this show and in our lives, but I see in the show like so much more transparency
Mhm.
is coming for you, so much more vulnerability, and that's also a wonderful thing. Who doesn't want to show up with someone who can be just real and honest?
It it's really kind of you to say that because we all have our own journey. And a part of my journey has to do with what I put in my body. And I've made lots of changes about the kinds of things I consume. In fact, at a summer picnic, I was with my sister-in-law, and there was a fun cheese something on the table and a cream cheese this and right
Yeah.
things that looked really great. And she said, "Don't you just want to eat that? Don't you just want to have some of
Mhm.
it?"
Yeah.
And for me, the answer was no. If it had been chocolate, I might have been more tempted, right?
Mm.
Because me and chocolate, and I really like chocolate, and I've stopped eating it. So knowing the kinds of things that might trip us up, knowing the kinds of things,
Yeah.
knowing who we are and how we are, can help us really be successful or can perpetuate our lack of success.
Yes.
And the work that you do in the soul helps us understand who we are on a soul level.
Mhm.
The work that I support people with regard to living by heart and their physical bodies
Yes.
is supportive, a gateway to helping them cleanse and clear and shift
Yes.
and also be more open. So this show is a growth opportunity. The work that we do is a growth opportunity, and I want to encourage everyone
Yeah.
to keep on keeping on.
Yes. Yes. And to take advantage of the opportunity we have in this lifetime to experiment, to be open to new ways of being, doing, and therefore different results. Very
Yeah,
exciting.
different results. Thank you so much, Wendy.
Thank
And
you.
thank you to everyone who's been with us today. We'd love to hear from you. So if you're watching, please leave us a comment. For more information on how you can live by heart, please go to livebyhearttoday.com. Like and follow this page and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our programs. We're here every week on Thursdays at 4:44 Pacific time. From our heart to yours, we're creating a better tomorrow because we live by heart today.
And that concludes this portion of
Live by heart today!
Thank you for watching. View more episodes on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Shop online at wearehistorically.com. Conscious Human Apparel.
Hi, I'm Darius Wilrich. I'll teach you everything you need to know about playing jazz piano like a pro with my 12-week online video course and downloadable guidebook, Jazz Piano Pro Essentials. Enroll today at jazzpianopro.com.
Thank you for joining us. Have a happy always. Visit our website to view more episodes.